Superstars, how's it going? This is Coach Wood, and I am back for another great episode of the Weekday Huddle with Coach Wood. So, this is our opportunity, you guys, you football lovers out there, you athletes, you parents of athletes, you coaches. This is our time, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, to talk some football, to hop in the huddle and talk about the topics that pertain to you young football players out there. It is a new day and age in high school football, college football, professional football. And if you don't know what you're doing, you may look back and see that you missed an opportunity like I did. So we don't want that to be you guys. This is our time to get after it. This is our time to ask questions. This is our time to learn. All right. So if you haven't already, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that you are notified whenever we drop a new episode of the Weekday Huddle with Coach, or whenever we have any of our Before You Go Pro content drop. You'll be the first to know. So make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you guys can fully join the Before You Go Pro community and help us get after it and build the best community, you guys, in the YouTube stratosphere, the YouTube stratosphere. So let's get into today's topic. Also, make sure you go down in the description box and check out the football resources that we have curated for you guys to get you to the next level. But let's get after today's topic, you guys. And this is one that actually, you see that book behind me, the Before You Go Pro book. If you haven't read the Before You Go Pro book, then make sure that you get your copy of the book. And if you want a free audio version copy of the book, make sure in the comments section that you let us know, and we'll get you the free link for the audio version of the book. But this book is something that was written years ago, but has stood the test of time, you guys, for you young athletes, you parents out there, and you coaches. And we're going to talk about a chapter in this book, because there are many chapters in this book that are important to you young athletes, and we're going to cover a few of them, but there's one that I want to get to in particular today, because there are some athletes where this topic is huge as we speak. And today's topic, you guys, is the blessing and curse of an alter ego. So as you guys see it right there, it is literally in the Before You Go Pro book, the blessing and curse of an alter ego. So what is an ego, Coach Wood? Let's take it right out the dictionary. A person's sense of self-esteem, a person's sense of self-importance. Your self-esteem and your self-importance. And that is something that you cannot navigate the football industry without. You cannot navigate the football industry without self-esteem. You cannot navigate the full football industry without feeling some self-importance. Okay? So the reason why we say blessing and curse of an alter ego is because you need to manage the temperature on that thing. You need to be the thermostat when it comes to your ego. It cannot be that you score a couple of touchdowns and now you're walking around like you're Terrell Owens. You're not there yet. You cannot make that mistake. So you have to temper your ego. You might be the baddest guy on your team, but you have to temper your ego, or else that's going to come back to haunt you. And we've seen plenty of illustrations of that, whether it's been coaches, players, what have you. This is a good old boy industry, and you do not want to burn bridges. So you have to temper your ego when you're up, right? But you also have to temper your ego when you're what? When you're down. When you're down. It's never, have you ever heard the saying, it's never as good as you think it is. It's never as bad as you think it is. It's right there in the middle. You might have just thrown 3 interceptions. You are not the worst quarterback in the world. You're probably right there in the middle. You might have thrown 3 touchdowns. You're not the best quarterback in the world. You're not Tom Brady. You're not Joe Montana. You're not Peyton Manning. You're probably right there in the middle. And that's where you need to keep it. Nice and even keeled in this industry. Because for one, you're always building relationships, and nobody wants somebody who's too high or too low all the time, or you never know what you're going to get with this person. One time you got a receiver and he's coming into the meeting room and he's down in the dumps and he thinks he can't catch. The next time he gets a couple catches in the game and he's walking in and he's big dogging people. You don't want that cat in your locker room. You want the one that's right there. He's even keel. You know what to expect. You know you can count on. You know his mindset is going to be right there. The blessing and curse of an alter ego. An alter ego is going to be what determines how you move. Your alter ego is going to be what determines how you move. A lot of these kids are in the portal because either their ego is too high and they think they're better than they really are, or they're in the portal because maybe their ego is low. Maybe their self-esteem is low and they know that they're never going to get a breakthrough at that school. So they feel low, they feel depressed when they think about their situation at that school, so they feel like it's time to leave. Then there's the kid who will never get out the portal because he thinks he's better than he really is. The blessing and curse of an ego, right? So let me share a story with you guys. And some of you athletes are probably going through this dynamic as we speak. There was a point in time in my career in college where I was probably the first or second best cornerback on our team, but I was not the cup of tea of the head coach. The head coach did not really feel me. And we went through a coaching change. So the head coach was not the coach who recruited me. He decided to go and start a redshirt freshman over me. So I had a game. We played USC. Wasn't the greatest game of my career. He thought that that was a perfect opportunity, the head coach, to put this young redshirt freshman that he recruited, that was a part of his regime, over me. Okay? And I'm a redshirt junior, which is technically like a senior. So I paid my dues. I've been at this school. Now you're going to put the young buck over me. I already knew you didn't really feel me, but now you're making it obvious because you're putting somebody in that just got here not too long ago. So at that point in time, what I really needed was a before you go pro and a Coach Wood to pull me aside and figure out how to handle the situation that I was going in. But what happened to me at the time is I was feeling myself and I turned my ego up a little bit and I said, you know what? If you're not going to play me, I'm not kissing anybody's ass and I'm not even going to go talk to the coaches. As a matter of fact, whenever the coaches try to talk to me or whenever I go to practice, I'm going to have a little stinky attitude. Because my ego is telling me that I'm getting the raw end of the deal and I'm going to let everybody know with my body language how I feel. Because my ego is telling me that I should be the one on the field. And you know what? I'm gonna be a little bit of a cancer in the locker room. And what happened was I probably could have turned that situation around. I probably could have worked harder at practice. I probably could have got some consultation or some mentorship from somebody on how to handle the situation. I probably could have showed up earlier for meetings, stayed later after practice. I probably could have had a conversation with my position coach and got back in good grace, but guess what? My ego was too loud. It was a curse for me. There was a point in time where my ego was a curse for me within my career. It could be a blessing or it could be a curse, right? So these are things that young student athletes have to manage. Professional athletes have to manage depending on how you roll with your ego during a given situation or time could very well inhibit you from getting a big time opportunity down the road because you rubbed somebody wrong, because your ego was too big. You rubbed the coach wrong. You rubbed the OC, the defensive coordinator, wrong. You rubbed that scout wrong. A lot of people are talking right now about Diego Pavia and how he handled his Heisman, not winning a Heisman, where basically he just went scorched earth. You know what that is? That's ego. That's ego. when he was saying F you to Indiana and talking about the Heisman voters. That's ego. He let his ego get out of control. He was the nice underdog that everybody liked from the academic school, Vanderbilt. And then when he didn't win the Heisman, you saw that ego come out. And it was looking a little bit like a curse. He's going to have to answer to that. Matter of fact, he had to do a public statement about his ego and his behavior. So it could be a blessing and a curse. Also, keep in mind, you guys, there may be times in your career where nobody is feeling you, where nobody is really thinking that you are who you think you are, that nobody is going to give you a shot. Those are the times where you don't want to be down in the dumps, feeding into how everybody else is thinking of you or evaluating you, or the fact that your phone's not ringing. You need to be able to temper your ego up a little bit there and pump yourself up so that you can continue to fight another day. So this thing is really something that you guys will have to balance throughout your career. You always want to have a strong sense of self-confidence. It's kind of like the Steph Curry thing, the silent assassin thing. You always want to have a strong sense of self-confidence. But it should never be too strong where it's a detriment. It's a curse. All right? So you young athletes, keep that in mind. Is your ego a blessing, or has your ego been a curse? You're going to have to manage the two in this industry. You're going to have to manage the two. You're going to have to portray and feel inside like you're the baddest thing on this earth, but also be able to tone it down when you need to strategically move, or when you need to strategically keep a relationship right. All right. So you guys keep that in mind. Once again, the blessing and curse of an ego. If there are questions that you guys have about a certain topic that we're covering in the huddle, please let me know. If there's something that you guys want to cover or something that you've been thinking of, please do not hesitate to reach out to us, you guys. You can also find us on social media at Before You Go Pro, Facebook, Twitter, X, or Instagram, the IG, at Before You Go Pro. Make sure you connect with us there as well. Also, make sure you get down in the description box. We've got recruiting information to help you guys out. We've got NIL, how to get to the bag on the NIL side. So you guys check that out. And then make sure that you subscribe so that you know when we have new content coming out, like the Locker Room Show or another episode of the Weekday Huddle with Coach Woods. So remember, blessing and curse of an ego is not just about what you're doing on the football field. It's also about how you move off of the field, and a lot of that is going to be determined by how you play your ego, how you move, and whether or not you're treating people right and making the right moves, or whether or not sometimes you need to pump yourself up. That ego needs to be the loudest thing in between your ears because your coach is telling you you're not that great, or they're about to let you go, or they're recruiting somebody else. Your ego better be supporting you in a positive manner at that time. But also, it better be in control when you're balling out and, other people are trying to get advice from you, ask you questions, ask for support, and you're big dogging people. You can't have that either. So keep that in mind, you guys. Blessing and curse of an ego. Manage it. You're in control. I'm Coach Wood, and we'll definitely see you at the top. Have a good one.